Welcome to Car Help Q&A. My name is Shari. I'm a professional car consultant and a consumer advocate. And for this video, I'm going to be answering your car questions from the comment section. And if you want to have your car question answered in a future Q&A video, just leave your question below in the comments and I'll try to answer it next time. So let's get right into the questions, starting with the first one. How would you recommend the pros and cons of purchasing a used vehicle from a rental car company? Okay, when it comes to purchasing a used rental car, the obvious benefit, of course, is that you are going to save money. That's the main reason why anybody would even consider it. But there is a very good reason why you're going to save money, and that's because rental cars are less desirable to buy. They just have a lot more wear and tear on them because they tend to get used extremely hard, and that's reflected in the price. So my advice with rental cars, you need to be saving a significant amount of money over the equivalent non-rental car, at least a few $1,000s for it to be worth it. And if that's the case, I would consider it, especially if you can get an inspection done by a mechanic that can look over the car and make sure that everything is okay. But if the price is really close to an equivalent non-rental, then I wouldn't even bother with it because it's just not worth it, and it just could potentially mean more headaches in the long run. So very good question. Moving on to the next question now. Your videos are so valuable. I always learn something new and appreciate how knowledgeable you are. Well, thank you very much. I do have a question though. Having driven as many cars as you have, can you break down in size and price category your take on the best lane centering, the best adaptive cruise control, and the best stop and go control? Okay, so this is a question about active safety technology, features that help prevent an accident from happening in the first place. And in this case, these are semi-autonomous active safety features. So that's adaptive cruise control, blind spot warning, lane centering, features of this nature that give you some assistance and help to prevent an accident. Now, obviously, these are features that almost all brand new cars have, and to be honest, most of them are actually very good. It's much harder to find a car that has bad active safety features that don't work well, as opposed to one that has really well designed active safety features. So I would say for the most part, you're in pretty good shape regardless of where you're looking, but some manufacturers that stand out to me include Tesla with its self-driving technology and autonomous driving on the highway, of course. You also have Toyota with its active safety sense, especially 3.0 plus on the newer vehicles. Fantastic features on those cars. We also have Honda with Honda Sensing. Hyundai and Kia also do a really good job with their highway driving assist and other similar features. So off the top of my head, those brands stand out as having exceptional active safety features that are really well designed. Okay, next question. I have found some 2020, 2021 Highlanders that have all-wheel drive versus front-wheel drive. I don't have snow and ice where I live. In my case, should I avoid all-wheel drive Highlanders? I'm guessing transmissions will go out sooner on them and create more problems than having the standard front-wheel drive. Okay, the classic front-wheel versus all-wheel drive question. Here's my take on this one. Front-wheel drive or two-wheel drive is perfectly adequate most of the time for the majority of drivers, even those who live where there's harsher winters that have snow and ice on the road. As long as you're using a dedicated set of proper winter tires, you're going to be perfectly fine. All-wheel drive is definitely not a must-have. And not having all-wheel drive means that you're going to have a car that's more fuel efficient. Two-wheel drive is more efficient because it's lighter, less drag on the drivetrain. It means less maintenance and repairs in the long run because you have fewer components. You don't have a rear differential, you don't have a drive shaft, you don't have all the all-wheel drive components, suspension components that are associated with it. So it is less costly in the long run. So front-wheel drive, perfectly fine. Now, all-wheel drive, it is nice to have. It's a nice bonus. It does give you more traction off the line. That's the main benefit that you get. And some people just want to have that safety net or that peace of mind. And there's nothing wrong with that. But you are paying a price for that. And it is in the form of using more gas and also more additional maintenance and repairs in the long run. Next question. I always dreamed of owning a Mini Cooper S hardtop. I heard all your great advice about buying European cars. I'm considering a certified pre-owned 2021 or newer. I will be paying cash. Any more advice? Okay, so my take on Minis in general, regardless of which one you're considering. They are fun cars to drive. They're great to drive. They have great handling, good performance. They have that unique special look to them that a lot of people really like, and they just have that special feel in general. I get the attraction to them, but it does come at a significant cost, especially in the long run, and that cost is maintenance and repairs. Minis are absolutely not cheap to own. Even if you purchase one for a reasonable price, it is likely going to cost you much more money than the average vehicle in the long run. And that's because Mini is owned by BMW, and it really does have BMW-like maintenance and repair bills. There's not much difference between them. So it's really the type of vehicle for someone who is willing to tolerate having the occasional problem here and there come up, and they're willing to spend the money necessary to maintain it properly and spend money on repairs, because chances are, if you're going to own it more than 5-6 years, it is going to need the odd repair here and there. So just be prepared for that. Make sure you buy one that's certified pre-owned, properly inspected, and do your proper maintenance just to protect yourself. Next question. I've always wanted to buy a Jeep Wrangler Unlimited. My father had a Willys Jeep in the 60s, and I have a picture of him riding it. So it's part nostalgia and part loving its history. Okay, so interesting question so far. However, the Jeep Wrangler seems to be on everyone's most unreliable vehicles list on YouTube. What would be the most reliable Jeep Wrangler Unlimited in your opinion? I know there are several engines and models variants to choose from. Okay, so Jeep Wrangler question. I have to admit, I have made a lot of videos commenting on Jeep and the concerns that they have with regards to reliability, repair costs, long-term ownership costs, and that's the reality of Jeep ownership. That's something that you need to consider. They're not going to be as reliable as, say, a comparable Toyota 4Runner or something like that. That's just the way they are. The build quality is not always the best. But if you want to mitigate the risk as much as possible, my engine choice would be the Pentastar naturally aspirated V6 engine. It's still available on the Wrangler, and I think that's the safest engine to go with. It doesn't have any turbos, it doesn't have any complicated tech, so it is a fairly well-proven engine that Jeep and Stellantis have been using for over a decade now, and I think it's the safest one to go with. I would not get the 4xe, the plug-in hybrid. Lots of issues with those, and you really don't save a whole lot of money on gas. So Pentastar V6, that's my choice. Hi, I was looking at a 3-row plug-in hybrid SUV. What are your thoughts around a $60,000 budget? How about the Outlander GT Premium? Can you suggest top 3 SUV in your buying order? Love your videos. Well, thank you very much. Okay, plug-in hybrid 3-row SUVs. The reality is that you don't have too many options. Yes, the Mitsubishi Outlander, that's a good choice. One of the most popular plug-in hybrids. It's well designed, it's fairly reliable, and it is a 3-row, although the 3rd-row seats are ridiculously tight and basically not really usable. They're just emergency seats for very small children. So if you want something more spacious, I would suggest a Mazda CX-90 plug-in hybrid. Very good vehicle, very luxurious, nice to drive. It has a good plug-in hybrid system. It has Mazda's naturally aspirated 2.5 Skyactiv engine, which is a very reliable engine. So that would be my second choice. And for my third choice, I know it's not a plug-in hybrid, but I really have to include the Toyota Highlander hybrid. It's just a regular hybrid, not a plug-in, but it's very fuel efficient, extremely reliable. It holds its value extremely well, and it's just a well-designed, great vehicle and a really safe, no-brainer choice. So for that type of vehicle, that category, that would probably be my number one. Okay, next question. So this one is not really a question, but more of a comment that I wanted to touch on. A lot of the videos proclaiming an oncoming car market crash seem to rely entirely on American cars. So great observation. I really wanted to comment on this because YouTube seems to be filled with channels that are constantly sensationalizing the car market, claiming that it's about to crash, there's going to be this huge repossession crisis, and prices are just going to plummet into the bottom of the earth or something like that. And we really need to figure out what is going on here. So the first thing is that you cannot say that there's some general blanket car market crash that's going to happen across the entire industry, because that's just not the case. It really depends on your location and the type of vehicles that you're looking at. In some locations like the United States, the car shortage has dramatically improved. There's a lot more inventory at dealerships. But in other locations, such as Canada, the shortage has not improved significantly. Many car makers still have terrible shortages with waiting periods that are a few months long, even several months long. So location is important. The second point is that not all vehicles are the same. Yes, domestic vehicles like Ford, GM, especially Stellantis, prices are coming down, and you can find some incredible deals and discounts for these particular brands. But with other brands, say Japanese cars, and especially hybrid cars, such as Toyota hybrids, Honda hybrids, and vehicles like this, especially compact cars, the prices have not really come down much. Demand is still high, supply is still very limited, and it's a very tough market to be buying some of those cars. So no, there is no general car market crash that's affecting everything equally. That's not the reality. It really depends on the type of cars and the location. So hopefully that clears that up. Okay, so now a question that's a little bit more personal. In your previous video, you mentioned that you personally own a Mazda. Question: why not a Toyota or Honda? Is Mazda more reliable? So many viewers do know that I purchased a Mazda 3 back in late 2022. And the reason I did that was really personal preference. I just like the way the Mazda 3 looks. I think it's a very stylish car. It has a very upscale, luxurious feeling interior. I was able to get a really nice special color combination for mine. The polymetal gray with the red leather interior, which I really liked. I like how sporty it is. It drives great, and it just has a really nice feel. And when it comes to reliability, Mazda is great. They are really up there with the very best, next to Toyota and also next to Honda. So it was just a personal preference thing, and ultimately that's what it comes down to for many consumers. Yes, I was being sensible and rational about it. I was considering my budget, I was considering reliability and fuel economy, but I also wanted to buy what I liked. Okay, next question. If I'm buying a car used from a private or dealer and they say, buy it as is it a good buy? If so, do you get a safety inspection? Also, is it good to buy a car that has a rebuilt title? Thanks for all your help. Okay, so this is something that I believe is unique to Ontario. Here, you can purchase a car that's passed a safety certification, or you can buy a car that's in as-is unfit condition, which means you're taking it the way it is not passed a safety, and it really is buyer beware, because the car might not be roadworthy and might not be safe to drive. The intention of as-is is that it was intended to be for those who want to buy a really basic car that needs to be fixed up from a wrecker or something like that for a really, really low price. But the term has really become abused and overblown to the point where dealerships are now advertising all kinds of vehicles in as-is condition. And they do that so that they can advertise a lower price that's more competitive. And then they charge some kind of certification fee that jacks up the price where it really should be in the first place. So I really don't like when dealerships do this. I consider it a red flag. Dealerships should be selling cars in safety certified condition only. That should be the way it is, because that's basically where it is almost everywhere. So don't consider buying an as-is vehicle. And any dealership that is advertising a vehicle that way, it's a red flag, and you need to be extremely careful. Okay, next question. EPA recently has changed its regulations to allow hybrids and plug-in hybrid vehicles in their car mix by 2035. Can you please shed some light on these changes? Okay, so many of us know at this point that there are government mandated changes coming where vehicles on the road need to be electric or plug-in hybrid by 2035. My understanding is that it still is going to be plug-in hybrid or electric only. Regular hybrids have not been allowed into the mix, but I really hope the government does consider that change, because I do believe that hybrids are a really important option for consumers right now. And I don't think it's realistic to expect all vehicles that are being sold brand new to be only electric and plug-in hybrid by 2035. I just don't see how that can realistically happen, given all the challenges when it comes to affordability, infrastructure, charging, and so on. So if hybrids are included in that mandate, then that's a lot more realistic. And I do think that's where the market is headed anyway. I think most vehicles that are sold brand new within the next 10 years, the vast majority are going to be either hybrids or electrics. That's just what consumers want now. It's already very much like that. Many automakers are mostly selling only hybrids if that's what they offer. I mean, just look at Toyota as a great example. They're absolutely decimating the market. Their sales have gone through the roof, and they're really showing other manufacturers that they really knew what they were talking about and had the right strategy, because hybrids are what most consumers seem to want right now, and hybrid sales have been going through the roof. So I really think that's where the market is going. And the mix of electric cars, yes, it's going to go up. It's slowly going up more and more every year. And as the prices eventually slowly come down and the technology gets better and better, we're going to see more and more electrics on the road. So I guess that's my take on it for now. So that's it for the questions for this Q&A video. Now, if you want to have your car question answered in a future Q&A video, just leave your question in the comment section below and I'll try to answer it next time. In the meantime, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. You can also check me out on Instagram, and you can also check out carhelpcanada.com if you need any additional car buying advice or would like to book a consultation. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.